All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a crossover between Valiant and Dark Horse. This is Magnus Robot Fighter and Nexus, issue 1 of 2. This is a two-parter. I have 2 as well. And yeah, so I'm very familiar with Robot's Magnum Fighter. I have followed his adventures when I was a little boy, little kid, because I had some small pocket editions with all of these science fictions. Old school science fiction from, I don't know, the 60s, I guess, or 70s. And Russ Manning was the artist at the time. I didn't know, I wasn't into remembering all of the artists, but, I just look at the pretty pictures. Nowadays, later, this is Russ Manning's art, by the way. Basically small, his origins. But Steve Root, who is now the penciler here, also cover artist, if I'm correctly, has a similar style. Steve Root is an old school artist. His art is really funny. He does mostly painted stuff, right? He's still doing, commissions and all that stuff, but he's not doing, as far as I know, comics anymore. Maybe here or there, but mostly stuff like this. That's more his wheelhouse. So we start here. Mike Barron is the writer. And so we start here and this is the future, by the way, and we can tell, old school future. I like old school science fiction. We have, robots like this and shoes like this and hair like this. I just like it. Anyway, so these people have a picnic, and then something appears from the sky. And who is that? Well, I don't know. Well, it seems that this guy is called Arkon. And he has a message. The huge ship hovers a kilometer above the park. Its vibrations fell deep in the soles of the feet, and those vibrations are oddly peaceful. A figure emerged, and through the soars high in the air, through some trick of magnification, all can see him clearly. What I like about this particular scene here, so it seems that the people can see Arkon in a different way. It seems that the stranger speaks in a soothing baritone in harmony with the ship. Though all see him clearly, each sees a version which speaks to him most directly. Which reminds me of Galactus. I mean, I believe it was in a Fantastic Four issue when I believe Galactus was on trial, written, and I'm not sure written, but definitely drawn by John Byrne. When every alien saw Galactus as a different being, which is cool. It reminds me of that. I like that. Anyway. So Leah says, do you believe her? No, I mistrust altruistic strangers. And why do you call him her? Yeah, because Magnus sees a guy instead of a woman. So then this cool visual. Arkon comes to the surface and he says, perhaps you can introduce me to the authorities. But Magnus, a little bit wary. I'm sure the authorities will contact you directly. So Leah says, Magnus, what if Arkon speaks the truth? We do have disease on the lower levels. There's no need to be rude. Very well, Arkon, we would be honored to introduce you to the Senate. So a little bit later in the Senate, this is also fun. So he says, an interesting device. What keeps it aloft? You're from the future and you don't know? My technology has been lost to us. I don't know. Anyway, so he says that he can rid of cancer, disease, and he says, well, I'm from the future. I want to help you. What is it what you want, says the Senate to Arkon. Access to the lowest level government clinics where I can treat the ill. Robots to spread the word where no healthy person dare go. Arkon, you presume too much. We have no widespread pockets of disease, no great population of the sick or lame. I wish I could agree with the Senator Parker. So yes, some kind of evidence that's not the case. So they are, having a meeting with each other, and they, decide that they would accommodate Arkon and help him, battling disease, I guess, right? So Magnus comes with him, and it seems that here at the lower levels, people are resisting to integrate. And he says, why do you call them citizens? Huh? If they do not contribute, do they not forfeit their claim to services, to the very privilege of life? That's an interesting dilemma, right? Because, well, I would not go into politics nowadays, but but then Magnus, reminds him of people in the past, and he says, we have learned much in the 41st century. Not all humans are created equal. I forgot to mention that Arkon is coming from the future, although this is set in the future, but probably further into the future, right? So then a bunch of angry people comes. Cloudies, go home. Rich bastards, why are you slopping? So Magnus says, hey, get back. We are here to help, but I need your cooperation. You want help? Give me some credit. And so this I don't know, low life, probably that's not the best word, but you know what I mean, has some kind of a battle droid here. I love this weird, very old school robot designs that is always here in Magnus Robot Fighters. I mean, if you look at robots, or mechanical beings, they mostly in science fiction and comic books and TV series, they all look the same. In comic books, not so much, right? So and then we have a fight that looks really cool. The ancient technology is new to Magnus, but he knows the old battle robs. That's what they call them, robots, often had a computer in their heads. Now, visualization, I like that. Every panel is different, right? I also like this, the color scheme is different now here. While Arkon looks on and we have all these fists of defiance in the air. Also reminds me a little bit of Jack Kirby style. Every panel is different, and it looks visually very great, as you can see here. Also here, the explosion when Magnus falls down, and then we have this cloud of dust. The kinetic energy on these pages is very nice. Magnus is a little bit stunned, right? But then there's some kind of a voice, a woman, and she says, beware the gifts horse. What are you trying to tell me, grandmother? Beware the gifts horse. He passes old tricks for new. His gifts do not come cheap. Grandmother, wait. Remember Helacia. So Arkon is now healing the sick. And they can walk again, right? Because they were paralyzed, I guess. I see you can't wait to start your good works. Why so cynical, Magnus? Please excuse me, Arkon. I'm not a politician and I should not have spoken out of turn. But your opinion is valuable to me, Magnus. See, the inhabitants of this realm are not as skeptical as you. So there is some clinics opening and people are getting healed left and right. And but then Arkon says, there may come a day when I shall ask a favor. Until then, enjoy your life. Yeah, okay, so he's probably a wolf in sheep clothes, which is not really a surprise, right? And then also some robots being cleaning, pollution, on the lower levels. And then this robot comes and says, hey, we uncovered a cache of 26th century battle robs. Carefully remove them and store them in my ship. But Arkon, the law requires their destruction. I'm overriding the law with special executive order. All right. So people are happy, and even the lower levels are being transformed into livable, habitat with, greenery and grass and water and whatnot. But then Magnus is now going to this library, I guess, wants to know what Helacia is. And then he founds it and he says, I have it. These journalists kept by a scientist on Callisto in 2426. They mention a mining colony called Helacia. What about it? Several hundred men, women, and children died. They apparently left their shelters without protection, as if they were driven out. What made them flee to certain death? I don't know. The old woman who spoke to me in the depths, says Magnus. So he's going to look for her at also, yeah. And it seems that her name is Poppy. And he says, hey, Poppy, hello. But then he gets a smack in the face by these how do you say, healing droids? Is that how you say it? But why they are attacking Magnus? I mean, are they not here for caring for humans? Well, probably not. So Magnus does what Magnus do. You know, he's been training fight robots hard in his body, and he is doing the karate chop. I like that a lot, right? Also, Rai, another great character. I need more Valiant comics, by the way. And now I see that those robots have knives. What's going on? Of course, Magnus just steps out of the way and jumps over it. Are you all right? Says his, girlfriend, I guess. These robots are from one of Arkon's clinic. How can you tell? I approve the transfer of these surplus models. They've been illegally converted to combat mode. So Poppy says, I warned you of the Trojan horse. Yes, Poppy, and I learned about Halesia, but I need to know more. Who is Arkon? Why is he here? He is the reverse of what he says. He comes from opposite where he claims. He says, where are you going? We must go to the surface to meet him. Who? He who chases him who flees. And she's an Arkon, Magnus. She speaks in riddles. And then they go into some kind of a lift tube. And he says, who is coming? The Liberator, the Avenger. And then Magnus, the weather control. Yeah, it's off. There's been a power failure. Now, I believe you have you need to have a little bit knowledge about Magnus and the world. So there is a weather tower. The weather tower is basically controlling the weather. So there's always beautiful weather, mostly not rain. They can also turn, clouds into storm clouds and snow and all that not. So it's very nice if you can control the weather, right? So and it seems that it's all been operated by machinery, and there is a ship here. And there's I don't know, the clouds go crazy. North AM, I believe that's the name of the city, I guess. Sophisticate, or maybe the weather control system, I'm not entirely sure anymore. Sophisticated defense system springs to intercept the strange craft. Why are they attacking? The strange has not attacked us. So Magnus can, interact with machinery or, speaks to machines. Someone's overridden the defense system. The robots has been programmed to destroy the intruder. So this is Nexus here. He just stands there, but, things go out of control. So Magnus comes in. Come with us. The attacks will stop. I am Legia Klein, and this is Magnus. I am Nexus. Are you the Liberator? Some call me that. I came through a series of black holes in pursuit of a man named Harley Arkon. Do you know him? We know him as Arkon. He claims to be a healer. He seems to have cured many citizens of infirmities and ailments. He is a liar, a conman, and a mass murderer. He flees the past because justice was closing in. And then we given him cooperation of an army of robots. There, his ship, Magnus. Arkon's ship is vibrating. My God, it's opening like a coffin. And then Arkon says, greetings, little man. First I'll destroy the city, then I shall return to my time and turn the web to ash. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. This is more like a simplistic kind of storytelling. It's pretty obvious that Arkon was a villain from the start, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. Which also reminds me, since Arkon comes from the future, which reminds me of a very old third-rate villain of Marvel called Zarko, Man of Tomorrow, who came to the past because it was easier for him to get nuclear weapons or something like that. So he also tangled with, the Avengers, with I believe Kang, and Spider-Man and other heroes. Yeah, so that was fun. It reminds me a lot of that. So. But my probably main little bit concern is more like Nexus. Nexus is a pretty powerful character, maybe a little bit too overpowered, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna see how he tangles Arkon, right? And this is a lot of Nexus books, by the way. So yeah, more is coming. We're gonna continue in this issue, and and then we see how it's gonna end. Guys, let me know what you think about this. Leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and all that YouTube jazz. See you next time. Bye-bye.